Mr. Day Akintobi is a journalist, joins us from the UK. Mr. Akintobi, thank you so much for coming on the program.
My pleasure always.
Fantastic. Let's get started with the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian is leading, of course, with national issues, national security issues. Armed attacks intensify as Tinubu okays U.S.-Nigeria security plan. You can see the faces of the men who are at the forefront. President Tinubu, the Chief of Defense Staff, the NSA, two governors there who have been greatly affected lately, and the IGP, and all of that. How renewed terrorism exposes old, weak security underbelly. What do you make of this?
Well, this joint security force, or this joint security committee, is a outcome of the visit to the United States by the NSA and some other high officials of the administration. And what it sought to do was to allay the concerns of the U.S. authorities, particularly the House of Representatives, who have been doing an investigation into the insecurity problem in Nigeria, especially as a corollary to President Trump's recent statements, outbursts, and threats. And what the Nigerian government is seeking to do is collaboration. We've said, yes, we need help, but the help should not come in the form of an invasion or boots on the ground or, coming in unilaterally into a sovereign country to come and defend what rightfully should be our problem to solve. So the path that is being told by the government is one of collaboration with the US, and they formed a joint task force to fashion out ways of collaboration, things like intelligence sharing, things like technology transfer, and other strategies that will assist in this war without necessarily directly involving the Americans to participate directly in this issue. I think the government a fire has been lit underneath the collective derrieres of the government, and you can see some of the things they've done recently, like withdrawing the police orderlies that protect VIPs, which makes more law enforcement officers available to join in this fight. There's the issue of the recruitment. They've put out a word and said there's going to be an urgent recruitment of new law enforcement officials to boost up the numbers in terms of the armed forces and the police as well. And you see these kind of initiatives looking at the idea that government recognizes as a problem and it may have been complacent. And in recent times, it seems the ante has been upped, whether it's based on America's direct threat or whether it's just a rising of the momentum. Recently, we've seen much more activity in terms of the insecurity problem. All the states you've mentioned, Kebbi, Kwara, Niger. Recently, the spate of insecurity attacks has risen exponentially to where it looks as if there is an open season now. There's a renewed vigor. And the government is trying to address that in a way, as you said, it's the president's responsibility. And he has spoken to the fact that he asked for the job and we shouldn't pity him. So I don't see him resting on his laurels. I think within his own capability, he's trying to muster up the morale of the troops. He's trying to throw resources at it. He's trying to encourage people. So there's a bit for us ourselves to do as individuals, because this insecurity problem does not happen in a vacuum. One way or another, the people who are wreaking this havoc are getting local cooperation. There's no way you can move 35 people from one place to another, 35 children. There's no way you can move 300 people from one place to another without somebody seeing it, somebody knowing it's happening, somebody providing resources and consumables. So part of the work belongs to us ourselves as citizens in terms of information sharing, intelligence gathering, whistle blowing. we ourselves have to play a role in protecting ourselves. And I agree with you, Jeff, that arming ourselves is not the best solution at this time for Nigeria. The solution is not to give everybody an AK-47 to have in their own home. I think that will cause more chaos than resolution. But there are ways we can assist in the fight as well as individual citizens by way of information transfer and generally situational awareness. For example, we were told that there was a report before the Kebbi kidnappings, that there was a report, an intelligence report that indicated that this was imminent, but that report was discounted. And to some extent, we also heard that some security people were pulled out of the school just before the attacks occurred. So these are the kind of lapses that allow this thing to spiral out of control, that we ourselves as individuals can play a role in helping to reduce this problem.
And you know, those lapses that you identified, or that in the Kebbi case, is you know, the same trail following all the other security threats that we have recorded in the last couple of weeks. And if you're saying we'll cause mayhem by asking Nigerians to arm themselves, those tasked with that responsibility are daily failing Nigerians, and Nigerians are just asking for the most important government responsibility. Speaking of which, the New Telegraph follows up on, what I highlighted earlier on as we started off the show. Presidential directive, that's the beginning of the big caption on New Telegraph. We've withdrawn 11,566 officers, and that's attributed to the IGP. Of course, that came through yesterday. Let's get an insight into what the writers are saying. Says intel sharing, strategy alignment now at unprecedented level. Policing to shift from reactive to proactive model. Military closing in on criminal gangs. Badaru, that's the Minister of Defense. Immigration, CG orders, increased border surveillance patrols. You find all these on pages 6, 3, and 7 of the New Telegraph. And, Mr. Akitobi, this is what we want to hear, right? But how comforting are these assurances from those tasked with the responsibility and who are speaking from these reports?
As Jeffrey correctly mentioned earlier, the trust factor in government is really very low. So when you hear these kind of statements, you take them with a pinch of salt and say, we've heard it all before. This is nothing new. Talk is cheap. What we want to see is results. I commend the government, for example, for withdrawing the 11,566 officers. Ever since 1999, we've heard it from every government, from every IGP, from that, we're going to take back the orderlies that protect VIPs, but it's never really happened. It's just always been talk. Every IGP has promised that. So for it to have happened now, it means there is a seriousness attached to this problem now. Yes, there are politically exposed people who should be protected. And in the news yesterday, the former governor of Anambra, his convoy, even though he wasn't in the convoy, his convoy was attacked. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, perhaps one person was killed in that attack. So definitely we understand that there are some VIPs that do need protection, but to what extent do you protect one person at the risk of exposing 200 million people? I mean, it's a moral question. Is one life worth more than another life? All animals are created equal, but some are more equal than others. So this is a good step in the right direction, but let us see it tangibly. Do you really believe that if you're going on the expressway today or tomorrow, you won't see a Hilux with police officers following an SUV with dark tinted windows? So, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. Let us see these things tangibly. It's easy to say that we've withdrawn them, but let's actually see that they are withdrawn. Let's see the cooperation that you are talking about. Let's see tangible results from some of these initiatives. They say police are closing in on bandits. What does that mean, closing in? They said they can't bomb the forest because their bombs can't penetrate. You hear all kinds of things that make you wonder that is this fight really concerted? Is the political will really being deployed? As Jeff said earlier, our military, I don't have a doubt for a minute that the fighting forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria do not have the capability to wipe out this threat in a heartbeat, because they are very professional, very competent, very capable. There might be some issues with morale, some issues with funding, but in terms of their professional capabilities to be able to arrest insecurity, I don't doubt that ability exists for a minute. So we've got to put our money where our mouth is. Talk is cheap. We can say all these things, but let's see results. So I don't want to see any policemen following any VIP, except perhaps, I'm sure there's some exceptions, the president, the vice president, the Senate president, Speaker of the House. There's some exceptions, but VIPs in general, let the civil defense. I understand civil defense are supposed to replace the police, but remember, civil defense also are playing a role in the insecurity. So you take out 11,566 policemen, replace them with 11,566 civil defense people, you've reduced the number of people available for the fight. So there's got to be a balancing act here some kind of way, but let us begin to see some tangible results from some of these measures being put in place by the government.
Absolutely. Well said, Mr. Akintobi. I think it was the Senate or the House of Reps when they were having their heated session, saying some members even have police protecting their wives and all of that. It's a mess of a situation, but we hope we can fix this. The most important thing is that we just want our people to stop dying. Mr. Yes. Akintobi, thank you so much for your expertise, as always, for bringing light to this conversation. We appreciate you, sir.
My pleasure always.